Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Wisdom Artificial Intelligence. So, today is June 19th, and I'm out here for a short walk. It's a nice, bright day here in Boston. Today, USA men's national team is playing Australia in a couple of hours. So, I'm out here for a short walk and then going to go root for Team USA. And you can see I am in my US team jersey. So let's go ahead and get started for today. Today's dose of Rashmi is intellect operating by itself will make your body, emotions, and life energy a slave to your mental models. Integrated intelligence, on the other hand, is the clarity of guiding your body, mind, and emotions to follow your life energy. So, the first thing related to this dose of Rashmi is it goes back to what I keep saying, the realization that life is the ultimate product. And the experience of life is honestly all about the energy that you can feel, how energetic you are. And when you follow what truly energizes you and engage in those activities, that's where, as I've said repeatedly in this series, human beings are amazing in terms of the capability that we can actually perform work and come out energized. So that is at the core of this dose of Rashmi. Now, turning to collective intelligence, and you would have noticed that in the dose of Rashmi, I did not talk about collective intelligence. However, as I was absorbing Abdul's quote this morning, and as I was reflecting on that with the lens of collective intelligence, I had a eureka kind of a moment. Because in the context of collective intelligence, as those of you who have followed me regularly, you know that I've developed this framework for product and innovation that I call PM squared: purpose, product, market, and money. And I advocate for purpose driven innovation and starting with the purpose. So when reflected on this dose of Rashmi with the lens of collective intelligence, all the pieces just fit perfectly. And I did not design PM squared with this in mind. However, if you think about it, purpose is equivalent to following your energy collectively as an organization. Why do you exist? And do what energizes the organization collectively. That is the purpose. Product is what the organization collectively is good at doing, and that is equivalent to the physical body of the organization in a way. Then comes market, and market is where you are interacting with the external world. And as I have stated in the wisdom led operating model lens, that market, instead of being extremely focused on grabbing users' attention, this translates to care, that have care for your user, for the end human, and deliver planets and human centric outcomes based on what the organization truly cares for. So that is where market perfectly maps into the emotional feeling state of the collective organization. And that brings us to money, which is the logical side of it. Yes, every organization needs to be profitable. It does need to do return on investment to the shareholders and investors. So, yes, money is important. However, that's equivalent to the logical intellect and mind. That comes after purpose, product, market, and money. That's how I envision PM squared model, and that fits perfectly. That start with what energizes the group as a whole. That is the purpose. And then use product, market, and money, or the organizational body, the organizational emotions, and the organizational logical intellect or the mental models that the organization has to follow those. And it fits perfectly into the three-layer Rashmi attention identity architecture also, that if a particular mental model or an organizational narrative is no longer suiting you, change it, adopt a new mental model. That is how any organization that is facing disruption can continue to stay relevant. in the age of AI or any other transition that comes about. So that was the eureka moment for me. It is interesting. PM squared is at the heart of how we are building the enterprise mirror along with the wisdom led operating model. So stay tuned for more on that. Thank you.